tried to haunt my dreams. That was your first mistake. Your second mistake was confidence. Your third mistake was thinking I scare normal. You floated through the ceiling doing all that ghost stuff. Chains on your ankles moaning like life was tough. You made the walls bleed, spelled my name in red. I rolled on my side and said, spell it right, Chad. You turned your head backward, made the whole room freeze. I said, that's impressive, can you also find my keys? You crawled out the closet with your shadow stretched wide. I said, finally a man who can commit to inside. You made thunder rumble, you made floorboards speak. I said, keep that up, I've been bored all week. You hissed through the curtains with your dead little stare. I said, wrong entrance, baby, nightmares line up over there. You said, I am your nightmare. I said, baby, that's cute. I have bills and exes, you're in a wrinkled sheet suit. You said, fear me forever. I said, what's your sign? Then patted the mattress like, get in line. You said, I bring torment. I said, I bring snacks. You said, there's no escaping. I said, promise me that when you try to haunt me in my dreams. But I'm a freak, I don't run, I don't scream. I ask, are you here? Oh, you came in rattling chains. I said, rhythm's kinda weak. You wanted pure terror, now you're scared to speak. You tried to be evil, tried to shriek and creep, but I winked at the darkness. Cause baby, I'm a freak. I'm a freak, I'm a freak, I'm a freak. You said boo, I said finally. You brought fear, I brought tea. You said die, I said maybe. Now the ghost needs saving. You whispered my full name in a demon little tone. I said, bold of you, I don't even answer my phone. You made dolls turn slowly, every head in the room. I said, group project, y'all can start with the broom. You threw books off the shelf, made the curtains fly. I said, good, dust that corner since you're already nearby. You dragged your dead feet across my clean floor. I said, apparition, there's a map by the door. You scratched at the wallpaper, left claws in the paint. I said, do you rent here? Cause I know that you ain't. You levitated sideways like a curse with a cramp. I said, if you float higher, can you fix that lamp? You made the mirror whisper, you made the closet knock. I said, while you're in there, pair up every sock. You said, I bring darkness. I said, I brought dip. You said, your soul is mine. I said, don't get attached to it. You said, I'm ancient evil. I said, I've dated worse. At least you showed up and didn't text first. You said, I feast on panic. I said, baby, too late. Anxiety got here early and already ate. You tried sleep paralysis, standing stiff by my bed. I said, you just gonna stand there or help clear my head? You tried a cold hand sliding over my sheets. I said, your circulation's awful, but your timing is neat. You made whispers circle like a haunted surround sound. I said, turn up the bass, this possession needs bounce. You put bugs in the ceiling, made the shadows all crawl. I said, cute little texture, but the budget looks small. You summoned black smoke with a dramatic deep groan. I said, baby, I burn sage for men with better cologne. You said, behold my power. I said, behold this robe. Then open one eye wider and stole the whole show. I named him Gary. He said, my name is Wrath. I said, Gary, hush and go clean the bath. He said, I'm the shadow that lives under beds. I said, perfect, then grab the socks down there, Fred. He said, I feed on fear. I said, bad news, boo. My last situationship already 8 for 2. He tried levitating. I said, hold that pose. Then took 7 pictures from my group chat roast. The Ouija board spelled girl, what is this? The candles blew out from secondhand embarrassment. The sleep demon whispered, I'd like to transfer, cause whatever I am is above his pay structure. The ghost said, I'm cursed. I said, join the club, then handed him laundry and a half-empty mug. Ghost said boo, I said louder. Ghost said run, I said coward. Ghost said fear, I said maybe. Ghost said help, I said pay me. Ghost said leave, I said nope. Ghost said please, I said cope. Ghost said mercy, I said cute. Then made him fold towels in his haunted suit. sweating and he ain't even alive. I said, look at you, Chad, barely haunting at 5. He tried to crawl backward up the bedroom wall. I said, that's real dramatic for a man about to fall. He said, I am eternal. I said, that's a lot for somebody who panicked from I called you hot. He said, I'm not a man, I'm a force from beneath. I said, even better, you don't grind your teeth. He tried to escape through a crack in the floor, but no sir, come back, you open this door. The closet started laughing, the lampshade, a creepy skeleton in the corner said, brother, just leave. You wanted me frightened, you wanted me weak, you wanted a victim with a delicate shriek. But I sat up smiling, hair wild as sin, said you better hunt harder or I'm clocking back in. When you try to haunt me in my dreams, but I'm a freak, I don't run, I don't scream, I ask, are you here all week? You brought the nightmare, I thought critique. You came to bed and still lost the me. You tried to be evil, tried to shriek and creep, but I blew you a kiss, 'cause baby, I'm a freak. You tried to haunt my dreams, now you're filing a complaint. You tried to scare this woman, now you sleep with the saint. Not a holy one, a terrifying one. I'm a freak, and you were not built for this.